Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here on all of our channels. My name is Taylor Cello, and I am the Secretary of GSERA. And we're so excited, just as much as you are, and buzzing, in fact, about the upcoming Boston residency. And we had an event recently where we unpacked all of that. What is residency, tips and tricks? And we figured for those of you who might not have been able to attend, this video will give you everything that you need. So without further ado, let's get started.
So, hi, I'm Sherry Wilkoskis. I'm part of the GSERA board. I'm the president of the GSERA board this year. GSERA Graduate Student Education Research Association. This slide is all five of us on the board. Three of us are here tonight to recap what we talked about a couple nights ago. All five of us are going to be there at residency. Find us, say hello. We're loving the idea of meeting all of you. And as Tay summarized, we're going to give you kind of a little bit of a big picture context of what the residency event is, our top tips and tricks to make it a really rewarding event for you, and then just close with a bit of a summary of some of the specific events within residency that we, GSERA, are hosting in order to build peer connection and community.
Excellent. So, what is residency anyway? So, many of you perhaps may have gone to a professional conference of sorts for your own respective industries. It takes the form of that. But the greatest part of it all is that, as we all know, coming from a remote asynchronous program, being in that type of program can be a little isolating. So the greatest thing about residency is that you're spending it with all of those classmates that you've been divided from with a screen, right? So being able to see them in person, as you see in these beautiful videos and in the pictures here, it's a great way to find your people, to connect with your faculty members, do further networking, and to even get to see what you could end up becoming when you graduate. So being able to see and connect with all the different people from all different cycles of the action research journey and from our program can go a really long way. So you'll see some concurrent sessions that go on like you would in a professional, setting when it comes to, conferences and the like. There'll be opportunities to decompress from those sessions, which I know I've come to appreciate a lot. And again, plenty of networking opportunities both during the residency experience and following it thanks to our residency board here and for GSERA. All right.
And so, like we said, one of the things that we really wanted to share coming out of our earlier conversation is what are those tips and tricks to help you prepare yourself to make the most out of your experience at the Boston residency. And one of the things we wanted to lead with is really the idea of you just staying mindful of kind of your headspace, your attitude, and your mindset. We're all different, and different personalities, and we're different day to day or hour to hour. So if you're having a moment where you're feeling anxious or some of that imposter syndrome that I know I've wrestled with about a cajillion times in this program, that's the moment to give yourself a little pep talk that is sort of like, there's a lot of respect for me in this room. And when it comes down to it, no matter where I am in the program, by the time I get to my dissertation, no one will know more about my topic than me. And so, like, really step into that sense of confidence in yourself. Or if you are just coming in feeling excited and just like raring to go, that's wonderful. But when I do that, sometimes I can be a bit much for people. And so I do try to kind of watch how folks are responding to my Tigger energy and like, dial it back if I need to. And also just again, listen to your system. I do have a lot of Tigger energy, but I will also tell you, I think it was last year at residency during the second lunch break, the last 40 minutes, I hid in a corner of the ISEC lobby because I just needed some quiet time. And I opened whatever novel I was reading on my Kindle. And a couple people stopped by to make sure I was okay. And I just said, no, I just need some regulation time. And everyone was cool about it. And so there are all of those opportunities to take care of yourself throughout the experience.
Thank you so much for jumping into that, Sherry. I also think that just remembering that we are all in a doctoral program and thinking about perfectionism having those moments of, oh man, should I have said that? What should I say in these moments? Just be very open that mistakes will happen. It's important to remember that you are human and so is everybody else. So going in with openness and gratitude and also celebrating at the end of the day, you're going to residency, maybe for the first time, for the second time, maybe the extra time. Please don't judge yourself in terms of that. Also maintain and remember that perfectionism sometimes can be the enemy of good. So please make sure that you're also celebrating all the things that you learn and really focus on enjoying taking classes with your classmates in person and also getting to know your professors in person. Tay, would you like to jump in on any of that?
Absolutely. I know that a lot of the times, and this goes back to my own experience at residency last year and going back to the whole idea of taking care of ourselves. And I know there's going to be sessions not only about building the doctoral researcher skills, but also sessions about very much the mental health side of being a doctoral researcher. So take advantage of that balance of content throughout your residency experience. There's even some mindfulness breaks throughout that I believe it was one of the main stakeholders from previous residencies who leads a mindful moment. So if you have a moment to take advantage of the mindful moment, I could not recommend it more. I did it for myself because as we know, and whether it's a professional conference or a residency like this one, you're learning so much information. So give yourself that grace to take that moment, whether it's with other people, on your own, go for a beautiful walk around Boston during your lunch break, get some fresh air. So definitely taking care of yourself. So that way your brain is ready to take in more information. That's definitely a good tip.
Thank you so much, Taylor. So jumping into session schedule considerations. So the structure of residency is main days. There are 3 days of residency though. So some of us are coming in earlier, they're flying in, or maybe they live in the area. So Thursday, there is a full day this year of events, an unconference with Sherry that is happening later on in the day. There is also a tour, I believe, of the Children's Museum with Dr. Crocker. There are some that have already filled up. So really pay attention to what events are offered. Sometimes they're offered repeatedly if they're very popular. Sometimes they're not. So depending on registration. So please make sure that you're paying attention to that. If you can't go on Thursday, that's fine. You have to attend Friday and Saturday. Those are the 2 required days. And then as you become like us, we're going for extra days. You can choose however many days you want to go. But I know that all of us are probably going to sign up for Friday and Saturday, definitely. Now, when it comes to the sessions, think of like Taylor explained earlier, this is very much like a professional conference. So there's going to be tons of workshops and meetings that you can attend. Now, there are different considerations here, and these are my hot tips. As a neurodivergent learner and thinking about what is in print versus what is conversational, sometimes I need to really sit and digest what is actually in print. So I am looking at the schedule and I'm thinking, hey, that lit review sounds amazing. I definitely need that. I might really take a step back and just look at the print before I jump into maybe next residency when I actually attend the actual class. And thinking about that and also other events that might be more conversational in nature, I might attend more of those because I want to have more conversations instead. And I'm like, oh, Dr. Fronduto, who organizes residency, usually will compile all the presentations at the end and send them, give them about a couple of weeks, right? Because it does take some time to do these things. That will happen, and I might get those materials later anyway. So that's how sometimes I have to strategize with my brain and how I learn best with visualization and conversation in terms of which sessions I want to attend. And I'm very strategic in terms of, hey, IRB is going to be offered. I'm not ready for IRB yet. That might be the next residency. Lit review, not ready for that yet. Fine. But really being strategic about looking at my course load and thinking about which classes are going to require these pieces. I know the reflection, my first residency was very helpful, and I had a lot of questions about that. My first class, I actually did every single question on the reflection. Didn't realize it's not what you do. So if you really want to learn about that, definitely attend that session for sure. But really be strategic in terms of what's going to be best for you as a learner, what's going to help you make the most out of residency, but also what's going to give you the most takeaway and also takeaways that you can take out of it. If you don't want to miss the conversation, go. If you don't want to miss the actual visualization because you need that support, go to that. So really thinking about that is important. Taylor, Sherry, anything to add?
The one other thing I'd add, and this was a great conversation we had a few nights ago, like what do you do when, as often happens in conferences, there are two or three interesting topics competing in a time slot? And like certainly the strategies Jennifer just outlined can help you kind of decide, okay, maybe this is the one that I'm going to be there for live, but really hope to kind of learn from the session notes that are distributed afterwards. But this is also where making connections can help you because you can actually, people you've been in classes with and you're now finally getting to meet 3D. Jigsaw out. Jen, hey, if you go to this session, I'll go to this one and then we'll have coffee together and like talk through everything we learned. So those are kind of other ways that you can also kind of crowdsource your conference experience and your residency experience.
Definitely. And to piggyback off of that as well, and this is actually a takeaway I've learned from some of my own coursework here, in our program, is that there's professional development and then there's professional learning. And so what we're doing here at the residency is very much like that professional development aspect of, strengthening our doctoral skills as researchers and whatnot, and of course doing the networking that comes with it. Then there's the professional learning that comes more so after residency, after you do the jigsawing with your people, you do the networking, and you finally have a moment back at home to really synthesize what you learned and think, okay, I'm here in the summer quarter. In the fall, I'm taking this class. Now, how am I going to actively apply what I took away from residency? So, give yourself a moment after residency to decompress for sure, because it is a lot of info you're taking in. But whether that be in the form of a coffee chat with the people you met, after residency and, coming together and really reflecting on, okay, this is what I learned at residency. How can I apply it now that I'm looking ahead at where I'm going to be in the next year? So definitely take advantage of that debriefing session following residency, whatever that looks like for you, whether it's by yourself, like with your own thoughts or socially with your people that you'll meet at residency.
Thank you so much, guys, for adding those great tips. I would also suggest, in terms of session scheduling and considerations, really pay attention to when transit is running and when it is not running. Saturday in Boston has a different schedule, and that's going to really impact. At least for me, I'm coming in from Attleboro and the train only runs a certain amount of time. So I'm either there extremely early or I'm missing all of the morning. So really pay attention to what time you're coming in and what options you have and when those options end. So that would be my final suggestion for schedule considerations. As for jumping to materials to bring, now, think of this as the college experience. You're going back to college, right? We all have degrees. You know what you had to bring to class. So when it comes to laptop, if that's the best way you learn, a notebook, if that's the best way to learn. If you prefer to have your papers nice and crisp because you will be getting some papers to take away from your classes, then maybe you bring a folder. But thinking about at least, at the very least, a bag, a best visual aid or learning aid for you, and hopefully definitely the schedule, which you will be able to get actually at the desk when you first enter residency. So really bring a bag, bring a water bottle so you can refill. There are stations for hydration stations coming around, and that's really important. Make sure that you also bring a little sweater because sometimes that might get a little chilly. So in terms of attire and materials to bring, just basic things, laptop, things to write on, a charger if you need, especially if you have that phone that's going to die on you mid-residency, and especially if you're taking pictures like in a conference of the slideshows and things like that. Remember, you will be getting them in a few weeks. So don't, sacrifice the time of focusing on getting your phone started. Make sure you're present as much as possible. And if you're not, you need a mindful moment, take it too. But know that have a learning aid, have a bag, have a drink. And also, I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Taylor Sherry, card is accepted on campus. So if you need to use your card to get something to drink, cash is, not a big problem versus credit card. But yeah, that would be my tips for materials to bring. Taylor, Sherry, do you have anything to add?
I think you covered it. Anything else, Sherry? Fantastic. So let's talk attire. So, as a New Englander born and raised, and as someone who actually works full time at Northeastern, you sneeze and the weather changes in New England. So, we're really kept on our toes, right? So I definitely recommend checking the weather as one does when you're going to somewhere new and plan accordingly. And now, although it does take the form of a professional development atmosphere and, with like kind of almost like a conference setting, it's Boston, right? Wear the comfy shoes. Wear something that you know that you'll be able to go through the whole day with. Keep the heels at home. I promise you, you'll be just fine. I know I am, that's for certain. So definitely wear something comfortable. Wear something that you would be comfortable still networking in, right? And showing your best self and expressing your best self, because that's what we all want to see. But be comfortable about it too. So checking the weather, dressing accordingly. You might see some other people there who might be dressed a little bit more upscale business casual versus business casual, and that's mainly because maybe they're faculty, maybe they're presenting, maybe they have a poster session, at residency. But don't let that deter you from wearing what's comfortable for you, because they're dressing that way for a reason, and you're here to absorb information and be a learner for an extended period of time. So dress comfortably and dress whatever feels your best self. That's my best advice for attire tips. Anything else to add?
Just bring that sweater because just in case that air conditioner is super hot or
Absolutely.
super cold, you're in the Arctic, make sure that you have a sweater ready to go. Sherry?
Yeah, that was the thing I was going to add, which is the other piece about it being Boston and bring your comfy shoes. It is Boston at the end of July. So, it is likely to be quite warm,
Mhm.
which again brings us back to the water bottle. And so that's where, have your sunglasses, maybe even have a ball cap that you can tuck into whatever your bag is. So you're able to move around in the glare. And understand that there will, because of the um outdoor versus air conditioned environment, that's where like certain things like having that extra layer are going to come into play. That if I had $1 for every time I've walked in the heat to any college university campus in sleeveless and then had to put on the long sleeve sweater as soon as I got inside the building, I could probably buy Northeastern all by myself.
That's a really, really good anecdote. So just to also add, based on the sweater or non-sweater, you're going to have to walk on campus. And one of the big tips that was brought up during the Boston Buzz was getting your Husky card. You can get a bunch of discounts using your college student card. So make sure you are determined to get it, especially on that Friday. Because remember, you're at college, some offices are closed on Saturday. So really target Friday as your day to go to the Husky store to get your swag, to get your, student representation, but also to get your Husky card, which will be in another area as well. More info on that will be presented to you during residency as well.
Awesome. And so then kind of our final tip comes to the for me, what is the heart of residency, which is, as Tay mentioned, of course, we spend so much time learning online, and the online learning environment is really effective and successful in Northeastern. There's lots of opportunities to connect with peers. But there's nothing like being able to like really sit across a table from someone, or if you're a hugger like I am, to actually like give someone a hug. And so to also remember that around the sessions, during the lunches, during the breakfasts, it's a great opportunity to build those connections and that community that then when you're at a stage, maybe wrestling with your IRB proposal, and you just need a friend to text that, oh my God, I can't believe this. That, you have those digits now in your phone, and because you've made those connections here, and understand that there are always going to be people that you are like more drawn to and gravitate more to because of commonalities in perspective, in experience, and be willing to listen to that, but also, try to like meet as many people and make as many connections that like bring you new ideas and new perspectives. So really, try to use this opportunity to find your people within the student body, but also among the faculty, because the fact that we do have open advising hours, the fact that we do have chat with faculty time. I'm in the stage where I have completed all my coursework. So some of those Saturday workshops are no longer necessary for me. I've already jumped through those hoops. And so thinking really carefully about, but who are the faculty that I can like sit down with for 15 minutes and get some mentoring and get some guidance and get some one-on-one kind of thinking with as I go into my dissertation proposal and my cycle two research. And so, use all of those opportunities to build relationships and learn and get mentoring through a whole bunch of different channels.
Excellent. And another really great opportunity throughout residency to find your people is with us. So to get started, we do have plenty of opportunities for you to connect with GSERA members, with us as e-board members. And so these are the three opportunities. One of them is going to be first thing on day one. And in fact, we're going to be in one of those first session slots. And we're going to be presenting on From Isolation to Collaboration, how GSERA builds community among graduate researchers. So if you don't know what GSERA is, or you've heard just anecdotes about it and you want to learn more and connect with us directly in that session, that's a great session to kick off that time. And who knows, you're going to meet other GSERA members that might be there. So again, a great opportunity to build community and figure out what it is that GSERA can provide to you as a graduate student here. On day two, breakfast is on us. So feel free if you want to come and get some coffee, get that fuel before the first residency. Might require to get up a little bit earlier, but I promise it'll be worth it. And just another great, more informal, casual opportunity to connect with us, connect with other, faculty that might be there, other students that will be there. So feel free to let us know if you have any questions about the breakfast. And then also on day two, but later on the tail end bookend of things, we have a happy hour social that'll be held at Two Saints Tavern at 4:30 after the programming ends. So feel free to come unwind with us. As Jen mentioned before, there is going to be plenty of public transit you can take if necessary, or if you're an avid walker, you want to get those steps in, by all means. But yes, we will all be there. We're excited to kind of, decompress after all of this is over and to just make further connections together in a more relaxed atmosphere. So we'd love for you to join us. There'll be a cash bar as well as light bites.
Thank you, Tay. And, there will be opportunities at these GSERA events. If you have not yet become a GSERA member in your grad school journey with us and are inspired to do so, we will have probably my or maybe Tay's laptop right there so you can sign up kind of in the moment. But if you are inspired now and want to be able to walk into residency bragging, hey, I'm already a GSERA member, join now. This QR code on the screen will take you directly to the enrollment page in the university's student organization platform. Log in with your Northeastern email and hit that join now button that you see that it being circled, and be part of our programming at residency, and then all of the online programming that we offer monthly sessions throughout the year. And so certainly keep that in mind, because we're a student-led, volunteer-led organization that just really wants to listen to the students in the program and try to answer those questions and provide the support and information that is really front of mind for all of us and for all of you. And so thanks for listening in on these tips. I hope some of them are helpful to you. Look forward to seeing you on Friday morning, July 25th. And, travel safely between now and then.
Have a great night, everyone. Take care.
Thank you for listening.